Hey guys, so let's continue with the puzzle door, and before I forget, let's also create new interact type, so it will say rotate instead of pick up none. For that, let's go to blueprints, enumerators, and interact type, create new one, and this one will be rotate. Save it, we can close this. Let's go to widgets and interact prompt. In the graph, just copy one of these, rotate, and here it will say rotate. Compile and save, we can close this. And then in the puzzle door on begin play, after this parent tag, we're going to cast to interact prompt. From here you get widget, which is the interact prompt, and set interact type variable, which is rotate. We can remove these two, and now we should have rotate, but as you can see, it is located where the pivot point of the whole object is, the whole actor, and we want to have it on each pillar instead. So let's just double check if all our overlap events are correct. So we only want to have overlap events on the base of the pillar, and every other mesh will have to have it turned off. So on the static mesh, just type in generate overlap events, it needs to be off, and then pillar base on, pillar off, pillar base on, pillar off. Door still has overlap events, so turn it off, pillar base on, off, on, and off. This will be important so it doesn't mess with the overlap events when you're just moving from one place to another. And then what we want to do is on each of these pillar bases, so let's start with one, just do on component begin overlap, then pillar, this is fourth one, pillar base on component begin overlap, pillar base 3 on component begin overlap, just do them in order as well, and pillar base 2 on component begin overlap. Make sure it's actually all pillar base, not the pillar, and then this one goes here. And now first thing we want to do is check if other actor equals player. We do have player reference, so just get player reference and compare the two, connect it, and then if it's true, we want to, again, I'm going to move it slightly bit down, there is not enough space. I'm going to get this interact prompt, and we're going to set actor, set world location. And just because the pillar base is quite low, like on the ground, and the pivot point is down there, we want to get pillar instead. So if it's pillar base 1, we'll get pillar, and we will get world location, and that's where we will set the interact prompt. And then we can just copy this, paste it here, maybe move it a little bit down, and other actor is this one, so goes to player, and pillar needs to be pillar 2. Paste it again. This one, other actor, goes here, and this one is pillar 3. And then one more time, and it's other actor and pillar 4. Right, now if you do have all the overlap events set up correctly, you should just get this, rotate on this one, then you go next to the other one, rotate, rotate, rotate. So that's working fine. If you go next to the door, you don't have any overlap events or anything like that. And the reason why I told you in the previous video don't put them too close is because if we have put puzzles too close together, I mean the pillars, then what can happen is you go next to one, start overlapping, and then you start overlapping the other one, so the interact will move to the new location. But then once you stop overlapping the one on the right, the interact prompt will hide because it will call out of range event which hides it. So just make sure you don't actually place them very close together, because that won't look very nice. But then we could also prevent it by like adding tags and everything, but I think it's just a lot of work for no reason, because you shouldn't have this stack on top of each other. So one more thing you need to make sure, I didn't mention it in the previous video, the reason why I copied them with all the decals and everything is because we need to have the same symbols on each side. So each of the pillar needs to have all of the symbols the same, otherwise it will mess up your solution later. Right, so if you don't have it the same, just make sure you fix it as a default value. So now in the event graph, we also want to set up active pillar. So which pillar is currently active? We're going to do variable, this is active pillar, it will be integer, and here we'll set it, this one will be 1, 2, 3, and here it will be 4. So for each pillar. Now we're going to create event to rotate it. So that will be done when we interact with it. So do interact. Now we will do first do once, and I'll explain in a minute why. And after that we're going to add timeline. This can just be called timeline. We'll do play from start, open the timeline, and here we'll add flow track. Length will be 1 because I want to rotate it in 1 second. We're going to right click, add key. This will be 0 and 0 value, then add key, and this one will be 1 and 1. This track can be also called rotate. And let's go back to event graph. And now when we interact with the pillar, which will be active, we need to find out which pillar is actually active so we can get its rotation. So let's do active pillar, select just this default one, and since we won't have option 1 because it takes the number from here, we only said 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to add all the options. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 won't be anything, but then on 1 we're going to connect pillar 1. On 2 it's going to be pillar 2. This is 4, so that will be 4. And 3 is on 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we got all pillar based on the selection. We can promote this to a variable that will be useful later. This will be active pillar component. Maybe move this back, probably needs a bit more space. And now we can just get a rotation. So from here we're going to get relative rotation, and then we're going to also promote it to variable, which will be current pillar rotation. The reason why we're doing the variable is because we do have these overlap events set up, and when you move from one pillar to another, this active pillar switches, which in case switches this select, and it will get different rotation and it will mess it up completely. Which is why I also doing this do once node, That means when we're setting this variable, we're only doing it once until this will be finished. So on finish, we're going to eventually plug it to reset. So when the timeline is finished. But for now, we're going to update. So from rotate, we're going to lerp rotator. We'll do shortest path. And we need to go from this value. So that will be A to B, which is we'll break it open and break this open or split it. And X is the same, Y is the same, and then Z we need to do plus 90 because we're doing 90 degrees more on yaw. And then we need to set actor rotation. So we do have active pillar component. So just get it, and we'll do set relative rotation on update. All right, and then on finished, as I said, we're going to do reset it. I'm going to just move it on the bottom. So cool, this will rotate it. This rotator needs to be plugged in here. So every time we interact with the pillar, it should now rotate. Let's test it out. Go to this one. It will start rotating. Rotate, rotate. Go to next one. Up. And I connected the wrong thing. I think I did the pillar base there. And then also, if you start rotating and run to this one and click, it won't let you rotate until the first one stops rotating, which is what we kind of want because you don't want to set up multiple timelines. So one thing, what have I done? Pillar, pillar, pillar base. Okay, so this needs to be pillar 3. Right, so now we're rotating pillars. Now we also want to have, we want to actually know which way the pillar is located, so we can assign what sign is actually showing currently. And then we're going to and then what solution we actually need to check as well. So we need to set up solution and then current pillar rotation. So best thing would be we could do it with the variables and like do 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's going to be nicer if we just set up new enumerator. So go to enums, right click, blueprint, enumeration, and we will do puzzle options _e, and we don't have to have any complicated signs. We can just do A, B, C, and D. And we can probably reuse it later for some other puzzles as well. So A, B, C, and D, and then in the variables we're going to create solution. This will be the puzzle options enumerator. We need to make it array, and we're also going to make it instance editable. So click on the eye icon, I'll select it here. So that will be the solution. By default, we're going to add 4 of them for each pillar. Doesn't matter what you set in there. That is just the solution that we'll set eventually. And then we also need to set the current rotation of the pillar. For that, we're going to use map array. So just create new variable. This one will be active pillar rotation of active pillar solution, maybe. No, active pillar rotation I'm going to do, but then we have solution, active pillar solution. That's it. I'm not going to complicate it. So active pillar solution, then first one needs to be integer, and then you can select map array. Second one will be puzzle options. Compile and save. Now by default again we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be for the pillars. We are assigning the value, but careful because this is also in the array. It's on the index 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, but this is our solution, these are our pillars, and each pillar has a assigned value. And this one we also need to make instance editable. And now on each pillar we basically have the value. So if you select it and go to puzzle door, here we do have the solution and we do have active pillar solution. Also based on this, so if we change it here, we want to obviously rotate the pillar to that rotation, because you don't want to start the game and have these different and these ones will be like complete rubbish. So what we're going to do is on construction script in a puzzle door, go to construction script, and here, do we need this parent construction script? Let me quickly check what we have in the parent. No, there's nothing there, so we can remove this, and then we do from the map array keys and values. From the values we're going to do for each loop. So we need to check basically each solution on every pillar, and based on that we're going to get like select here, select regular one, and this time be careful because this is array index. So as I said, it's not 1 2 3 4, it's 0 1 2 3, so we only need these options. And then pillar 1, pillar 3 goes to 2, pillar 4 goes to 3, pillar 1 goes to 0, what am I doing, 0, and pillar 2 goes to 1. We could also get a copy of the keys and everything, but this is just the easier thing. This is the only place that we need to do it differently. And then from this we're going to set relative rotation. So for each pillar we're going to set rotation based on the options. So from the options we're going to select, and then we connect the rotator. So we connect the return value here, and now you can set relative rotation. So if the option is A, we won't rotate it. If the option is B, we will rotate it 90 degrees. If it is C, then we will do 180. And careful, you would think that this needs to rotate 270, which would work. But then if you check the meshes, it will directly automatically set it to -90, which is the next rotation. So instead of 180, the next one will be -90. So this is one of those things, but it was driving me insane when I was testing it out, and it is because it sets it to -90 instead of 270. So just set it like this, and now this is done on construction script. So if you were to check these puzzles and do active pillar solution, and I change the first one, watch this one, to B, it will rotate to the second sign, C, to the third sign, and you can set it to whatever you like on the beginning. Okay, so now we do have pillars that we can change, and then we need to basically, once we rotate them, we want to compare them to the solution, if it's the same. So in the puzzle door again, let's go to event graph, and here on the bottom we'll just do function that once this timeline is finished, so once it finished rotating, and this function will be check pillar rotation. Check pillar rotation. We will need to add input, which will be rotation, and this will be rotator, and also one more, which will be the active pillar index, and this will be integer. And since there is no way to actually do select on different values, so like we want to check the based on the rotation, if it's 90, then we need to select that it's option A and stuff like that. If it's 180, it's option B, but we need to do it manually, unfortunately, with 4 branches, because as I said, there is no select for float or for different options. So we're going to break this open, and then from that value we're going to check, is it equal 0? So only the z value we're checking. So if it is, then we need to do one more variable. Local one is fine, and this will be local solution, and it will be just a single variable and puzzle solution, puzzle options. Compile it, and then here we'll set it on true to A. Then we will copy this whole part, check if the rotation is 180, sorry, 90 here. So if this equals 90, we'll do B, paste it again. If this equals 180, it will be C, and if this equals, as I said, not 270 but minus 90 here, that will be D. Then on false we'll just do return note, but on end of this we need to get the map array, active pillar solution, and we need to rewrite the current pillar settings. So we will add on the index that we have here, active pillar index, we can just get it, I'll connect it directly, you can get it as a variable here, and solution will be this local solution, and then we need to connect it from all of them. So this will basically check, after we rotate it, what is the current rotation, and based on that it will select the option of the pillar, and we will add it to our map array so we know. And then if we go back to event graph, here we're going to connect it on finished, so check pillar rotation, and maybe we want to move this back. This one will be done on finished, and rotation is not the current rotation. Is it the current rotation? No, we should probably connect the new one because it's just finished rotating. We can get it from active component and then get relative rotation. Yes, because this one will be the old one because we set it in the beginning. So we need to get a new one after it finished. This will be rotation and active pillar index. Again, we don't want to use this one because if we were to overlap with different components, we would switch this, so it wouldn't be accurate. We want to promote this to a variable as well. And this will be active pillar index. I know this is a little bit complex, we're having too many variables, but that is just because we're sorting all of these inside one blueprint. And I play from start. That means we saved it, and we can only do it once before we switch the pillars, and then we can just connect it here, active pillar index. And now we do have it checks the rotation and set it correctly in the map array. So what we can do is get this solution, and we need to get values, which is the ABCD, and we can just check is the values equals, not that equal, I think it's identical actually, checks if two arrays are member wise identical. So do identical, and we will do solution. Move this back and branch. If it is identical, we're going to open door. So for that we can do custom event. Custom event. This will be open door, and we will call it on true, open door. And this time we're not going to reset it, so it will be closed. We won't be able to interact with it or anything else. It basically, this puzzle is solved. But on false, if it's not, we just keep going. So we will reset it. Where is my reset here? All right. And now open door. We need to again set up the functionality for actually opening the doors. For now, I'm just going to print string, for example, so we know if it's working. So this will be door open, door open. And in here, I'm going to set up very easy solution. So A, and here I'm going to do A. Is it going to go to D after? I'm just thinking if you set it up. I'm missing something. Minus 90 and then it goes to 0. It should be fine. But just in case, on this puzzle I'm going to set up the solution to be A, and the fourth one will be B. So I just need to rotate this one once. So I go here, rotate it, door open. Right? If I rotate anything else, nothing happens. 2, 3, and 4, and then this one, door open. Okay, so that's working fine. Now let me see. So after solution also we want to, so on finish, if it's true, when we open the door, we should also hide the interact prompt. So we can do it in open door or we can do it here. Just drag out the interact prompt and we will set hidden in game this time, so it doesn't keep just doing the visibility when we overlap and other things. We will just hide it in the game, that way it just won't come back. So new hidden, and this way, let me test it one more time. So A and B, rotate, door open. Now I can't touch anything. And again, I can see the video is like 28 minutes, so I need to split it into another one because there is still sound effects that we need to add and some Niagara effects and open the doors and some other things. And I want to also go through the solutions, how we can like mark it. So I'll do it in another one and that will probably be the final one. So I'll see you then. Bye.